Bills Mafia from around the world has been asking for Buffalo Bills programming.
Oh yeah, the dentists are always asking me. They said, you're from Buffalo, you're a dentist, let me hear more about the Bills.
Well, we at the Shatkin Sports Network are excited to announce a partnership with New York Sports 48. They're part of the Roku streaming service. All you got to do is download the Stream on a Budget app and watch the Shatkin First Down show Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m.
It's the Shatkin First Down pregame show, presented by Dr. Todd Shatkin and the Aesthetic Associates Center, with your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Dr. Jared Shatkin, and our special guest, Bills Hall of Fame quarterback, Jim Kelly. Now, from the Shatkin Sports Network studios in Amherst, here are your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Jared Shatkin.
Welcome to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Rich Gaenzler, Dr. Jared Shatkin. Lots going on the show today. Jim Kelly will be joining us as our special guest this week. We'll get to La Mafia, and of course, we'll talk about the Falcons game. But we got to open with, oh man, I know a lot of people are saying, ditch the storm front, the cold front uniforms, never wear them again, burn them to the ground, get rid of them. All the superstitious folks out there, but clearly, I don't think the uniforms were the problem in the Patriot game. There were a lot of other things, the penalties, the giveaways, things that are not really Billsy these days, right?
Yeah, no, we lost this game because what Sean McDermott said. He said we had more turnovers than the other team. Usually that's how we win the game. But I do think that leading up to that game, the two games before that were kind of the tells on how the Bills were playing. They were struggling defensively against teams like Miami and New Orleans, and then you ran into a pretty high-powered offense in New England, and they did pretty well.
I know people were screaming about the penalties all week, but in the end, I think folks have to realize the numbers, right? I mean, yeah, the Bills had a lot of penalties against. So did the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Patriots had more penalty yardage than the Bills did. So they could be screaming equally as the Bills were in that game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that one last pass interference, but it was kind of a bang-bang play there. And it's one of those things where I don't think we lost the game because of the way the refs called the game. I think we lost the game because of the way the Buffalo Bills played.
We're going to spend some time with Trey White a little bit later in the show because obviously he struggled against Diggs, who was virtually unstoppable in this game. I mean, if you're going to do arrows up and arrows down, I mean, that was certainly an arrow down. And I think an arrow down too, and we talked about this in the pregame last week, about the fact that the Patriots had a pretty good run defense, and James Cook has never had success against New England. He had one 100-yard game. Other than that, he's been stopped, and he was stopped again.
And when they stop James Cook nowadays, the Bills' offense just doesn't go the same way. They don't use play action the right way, and it ends up being just Josh Allen and his arm.
There were some good things in this game, right? Kincaid has a massive game, his first 100-yard game as a receiver. He seemed to be open every time Josh threw to him.
Yeah.
And then some other things. The Bills' run D, only 7 yards against. I think New England averaged just over 3 yards a carry, which is something to be proud of. And they had 4 sacks in the game and a great pressure from Daquan Jones that if it hadn't been for a miracle play from Drake made it to Diggs, and what I would thought really was the play of the game, that's another one for the Bills. So there were some upside moments for the Bills in that game.
Yeah, there were definitely chances to win the game. But in my opinion, this win or loss is not that big of a deal in the season. What is a big deal on the season is the way they played that game. I think there's definitely some holes in this defense, and there's definitely some holes in this offense, and there's things that have to be changed. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to lose early in the year like this. I think the Bills need to really get back to the drawing board with a little more intensity and kind of reinvent the last couple quarters of the season.
You preach that, and you have for our 5 years on this show, that it's not about early in the season, it's about how you close it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, stand by that, because you're right. And the Bills have proven that year in and year out. What did you think about, I mean, there were trick plays in that game, right? There's a flea flicker that almost looks like Ray Davis isn't going to get the ball back to Josh. He completes it for a 21-yard gain. And then there's the play where Knox, we think it's a handoff to Dawson Knox. We don't know what it is. That's sort of a trick play. You don't see that play very often. There was another play that was an RPO where Josh gets stopped, basically flips it to Shakir. He's dead in the backfield. Do the Bills really need that in this offense?
No, I think what they really need is a guy who broke through this game, Dalton Kincaid. I think that's something you can build on from this game, is having a go-to target, because they talk about everybody eats, but it's a famine if nobody gets open. So Dalton Kincaid is a guy you really got to, spotlight in the rest of the season. And I think that's huge, having that one guy who you can go to on a 3rd and 5 or on a 3rd and 6, like that Cole Beasley type who you think is going to be open most of the time, because without that, there was really a lack of separation. And it's not just separation. I know we're talking about the play calling is predictable, but I think you kind of got to get to the Jimmys and Joes. I think you got to go to the guys who are working. And right now, guys like Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer, they're just not working.
Elijah Moore's not even playing.
Yeah,
right?
So it's a guy, to me, Dalton Kincaid right now is your evidence that we can go to him and it's going to work.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Curtis Samuel is more involved as the season progresses with his speed. He has been involved, certainly. All right, let's go to a break and move on from that Patriot game, right? We'll set you up with the Falcons coming up in a little bit, the Mafia as well, but Jim Kelly, this Hall of Fame quarterback, joins us right after this in the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show.
Hi, I'm Dr. Todd Shatkin here with Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas.
My family and I have been coming to Dr. Shatkin's dental office for years. The office is beautiful and the staff is outstanding.
Thanks, Thurman. It's been an honor for me to take care of you and your family.
For a Hall of Fame smile, go where the pros go. Dr. Todd Shatkin at the Aesthetic Associates Center.
Call today for a free consultation, 839-1700.
All right, we are joined by an old friend. In fact, let me see, I'm being like the weatherman, right? That football is a football signed by our guest that he gave personally to me a few years ago in a radio studio. He is, of course, Bills Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly. Well, great to see you, man. How you feeling? How's the fam? How's everything going, man?
I'm doing fine. Just had some face things zipped off there the other day. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. My family's doing well.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bills now. And I want to ask you to go back in your career. Of course, when you guys were at the height of your success, kind of like the current Bills are now with the 5 consecutive divisional titles. Were there games, early or mid-ish season when you played a team that certainly wasn't up to your level and you played down to, and maybe there were penalties and giveaways, and you lost that game that you weren't expected to? Maybe you were favored by a lot. Were there games like that? And if there were, how did you respond to that? And how did you recover from that game? And what was the messaging like for Marv and the team and from the team leaders like yourself to the rest of the guys?
Well, early on, there's no doubt that, every year it's going to happen. It really is. I mean, what always brings back to my mind with the team that we have now was Jacksonville a few years ago when we wind up losing to them early on, and it came back to haunt us later on down the road for the playoffs, whether it was going to be a home or away game. And but when I played, there's always going to be that game. That's why you need that motivational factor. And Marsh's quote was all the time, he said, if I have to motivate you, you need to go somewhere else. If you can't get motivated yourself playing the game of football, going out there, getting paid what you guys are getting paid, if that is not enough to motivate you, then you're in the wrong sport. And but the thing is, things do happen. And then after the game is over, you look back on some of the things that happened during the game, like the 11 penalties we had or 10 penalties we had against the Patriots. That you cannot do that week in and week out and expect to win. We got to be able to stop the run. Those are things that pop up that you look at after the fact, but you also know going into games, there's games where, and I'm just going to tell it like it is, I used to throw up before every game. And my offensive line would never, ever leave the locker room until I was done throwing up. So I would go into the bathroom. There are times where I wasn't as excited as I would be playing a big team. And I would go in there and I would pretend to throw up just to get those guys excited. Oh, we're ready to go now. So we would all go up. But yeah, there's games where you don't get as pumped up as you should be, or in your heart you need to be. But you always got to be your mindset's got to be focused on what you have to do at hand, what the game plan is, and then you go from there.
It's got to be sort of bittersweet for you knowing that the stadium's going away. I mean, I think we all knew at some point it was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But I would suggest that maybe the greatest football memories of your life happened in that building. So it's a brutally unfair question, but is there one moment, and I think I'm not 100 that I know the answer to this, but is there one moment that you will always take away from Highmark Stadium?
Well, there's a couple. The first one was my first game ever. When I ran onto the field, I looked up in the stands, and my mom, my dad, my 5 brothers were up there.
Awesome.
And to me, that was probably the greatest moment of my life, knowing that I made it. And now mom and dad can kick back, relax, and enjoy life. They don't have to work anymore. And of course, I wanted always to make my 5 brothers proud of me. And they were there from start to finish. Never was jealous one time ever in their life. They never complained about anything. They always would be there for me. When I need to work out, they were there for me. When I was in college at summer break, I would go up and stay in Richmond, Virginia with my 2 brothers. All I did was work out, and they paid for everything. They paid for, I stayed at their house. They paid for the food. All I had to do was work out. They would go down and throw the ball with me. I would run, would do all those things. But that was number one. Number 2 is probably going to the first Super Bowl, beating the Raiders 51-3. That, because I remember, long story short, in that game, as you well know, 2 minutes ago in the Super Bowl, we're losing 2019. Well, when I was a little boy back in East Brady, I was one of those kids that pretended like I was the quarterback, lead my team down the field with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl and winning it. I would throw it to my little brothers. I'd throw it to a couple of my best friends. We would just go over these things, and all of a sudden, here I am, 2 minutes ago in the Super Bowl 25, we're down 2019. And right before I took the field, I said, "Do you believe this? This is everything I dreamt about as a kid." Everybody out there, don't jump off that bandwagon. It's way too early. This is a game that, yeah, we didn't win, but we will be back.
Love you, man. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, team, we're down by 6 with only 1 play left. It's comeback time. Yeah! We need a play. The reverse ribeye, no good. The porterhouse pitch, too risky. The strip steak sweep, that's it. Go Russell!
Touchdown!
Where would you like to have dinner tonight?
Russell's, of course.
Be my guest and let us do the rest.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
Mini dental implants can change your life too. You can be you again. Call us at 839-1700 for a free consultation.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
Welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Time to go in the pocket. All right, we're in the pocket with Sam Castronova, who doesn't know now where he's going to play in the UFL next spring, but you're on a team.
I got a job, just don't know which location.
Okay, very good. We're going to get to Michael Penix in a second, but I want to ask about Josh real quick. A lot of people are complaining about, no deep balls, no deep balls, no deep balls. I maintain maybe the coaching staff just doesn't think he's a good deep ball thrower, and let's just design the offense around intermediate plays. What do you think?
I think that could be a part of it. I mean, he hasn't been great at connecting on the deep balls in the past, but at some point you still have to call those plays because the defense can just suck up, and there's less and less separation, and then that feeds into, oh, the receivers aren't getting open. Well, if the defense isn't worried about a deep ball, then they don't have to. They can press up and limit the separation. So I think it's maybe a mix of a few different things, but we got to start taking some shots. Even if they don't connect, it's the defense is, oh shoot, we got to back up a little bit.
And typically on a deep ball, your percentages of something good or neutral happening are better than something bad, right? I mean, if you break it down, it's either an incompletion, an interception, a catch, or a penalty. So 3 out of those 4 are okay or good.
Yeah, they're not always the highest percentage of plays, but yeah, like you said, a lot of things can go your way when you do stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. And then I want to ask you very quickly about receiver separation, right? I mean, you scheme guys to get open. You hear that all the time. I mean, that's right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have some guys that can do that on our roster. Are they the best? No, but I mean, I saw a stat last year. Josh Palmer was the top 10 in the league in separation. So maybe it's not the receivers. Right. Maybe it's the scheme or the plays we're running. So I don't know. It's frustrating to watch, that's for sure. But because it feels like there's so much pressure on the quarterback when games like that happen where they do stop the run. So I don't know. It's hopefully we get it figured out. It's one game. We don't have to overreact. But 2 fumbles on stupid plays, and we lose by 3 points. So I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah. Let's fast forward now. Obviously, we want to talk about the visiting quarterback, well, the home quarterback, the opposing quarterback, Michael Penix. Obviously, the Falcons have a lot of talent, right? With Pitts and Mooney coming back from injury, and they're off the bye, so they're a little bit healthy. And, of course, you got Drake London, and Bijan Robinson's fantastic out of the backfield. So he definitely has some weapons to throw to.
Yeah. When they're clicking, they look really good, and when they're not, they look really bad. So coming off the bye, you think they're going to probably be ready to play, and it might be a higher scoring game, especially with our defense and Bijan Robinson. I kind of had a crossroads because he's on my fantasy team, but I'd much rather Bills win than have a fantasy win. But yeah, we got our hands full Monday night, and hopefully we can come back and play a little better than we did.
Very good. All right, get rid of the ball. Let's go to the Mafia. Welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show, joined by the Mafia, and it's kind of become a trend of rookies here at the table. That rookie would be Rico from Napoli's, one of our proud sponsors. That's right. He's here. He's well-dressed. Why? Because he well-dresses people around town at Napoli's. Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it. And we really, really appreciate you coming on board and being one of our sponsors this year, too. It's really important, and we appreciate that more than you know.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
And you are well-dressed.
Well, thank you.
You carry it well.
Or the Bills red.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's Coach Bob. You deserve the Rolaids, using a baseball term, because you deserve the Rolaids Relief Award as the savior to the Mafia segment, because you were called out of the bullpen to join us on the segment. So I don't actually have a formal trophy to award you, but the fictional one, you win.
Mark will send me something later.
Give you some extra teammates.
Dozen balls of Pro V1Xs.
There you go. Dr. Jared, obviously Sam here too. Rico, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
All right, look, I mean, I thought we all thought it might be a close game, the Patriot game, but not that we would lose, and not that we would lose the way that we did with giveaways, penalties, all that. I mean, just sloppy play. It seems like every team we're playing recently, we're playing kind of down to, right? Showed again, and this week 5 history hasn't been great either with the team. So for you at this point, where's your level of frustration? I mean, no one's really jumping off the ship at this point, but people are frustrated that this team can't be consistently good. There's always something.
Yeah, no question. I mean, sloppy, I think, is the key word, right? Lots of penalties, kind of a frustrating game to watch as a fan. No flow. Then when the offense, I noticed, did get in a flow, obviously we had some mistakes early on. You know, when Knox went in motion on that one play, it was, I don't know what that was supposed to do, but anyway, it didn't work. And, fumble, right, stops all momentum. Defense a concern. We all kind of feel that way, I think, to some degree. But yeah, offense has to click. I mean, thankfully, Josh Allen, owned it, was clearly frustrated. So leaders have to do what they have to do, and they have to pump up the boys in the locker room and bring them all together. And let's hopefully, Monday night we see a better team.
Yeah, Bob, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I got to start with the quarterback here and talk about Josh a little bit. First of all, there's been a lot of talk out there that, there's no deep balls. There's no deep shots out there, right? And most of what he's doing is when he's playing hero ball, getting out of the pocket. But I want to ask you about staying in the pocket, maybe a half second or a full second longer. He seems like, and statistically it's even being shown in 2025, he's leaving the pocket a little bit earlier than he should. He maybe goes through his first progression, doesn't see anything, and he's out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it helped that we lost Spencer Brown for a game, and he got sacked 3 or 4 times last week, so I think maybe almost a little bit of PTSD kicking in. But yeah, definitely last game I thought maybe he left the pocket a couple times a little too early, but also they were getting a little bit of pressure, so sometimes it's hard to kind of feel the difference. It's kind of just a feel thing, and it's kind of picking and choosing.
So we've talked about the offense, Coach Bob. Let's talk about the defense. I mean, I thought Epinesa played well. I thought Rousseau generally played well in that game.
Better
I mean,
game.
Shaq Thompson, I thought
game.
played well. But one of the guys that was victimized again, and we've talked about him before, and Jared mentioned him in the show last week, was Trey White, again being victimized by Steph Diggs in that game.
Great guy, great teammate, wonderful guy. You know, the plan wasn't to have him start 4 or 5 games. So when our first pick got hurt, he's in there, he's doing the best he can to rotating that side to help him. It leaves other things open, and other teams can see it. It's been a couple of weeks now, and they're picking on him, and then they're going to the other side when they're rotating safety. So I don't know what they're going to do. They haven't signed anybody this week, and Strong got hurt, so now they're back. They don't have anybody, to back him up.
Yeah, I almost feel like Jared. He's almost like an Elam. It's almost like an Elam situation from a year ago, right?
Yeah.
When he was just kind of plugged in because they literally had nobody else.
Yeah, it's kind of speaks to what Brandon Beane did this offseason, how, we drafted a first-round pick, and then we signed Tre'Davious White, who's a guy who jumped from practice squad to practice squad last year, and you're expecting him to really be your primary backup, and it's just not working. That mixed with some poor safety play is turning into something that other teams can really target. I mean, anytime they wanted a first down, they could go to Stephon Diggs. And that speaks to another position in need for the Bills. But there's definitely problems. We have a Trey White issue, and I think we need to look outside the organization to fill that need at some point this season.
Yeah, penalties, giveaways. I mean, we learn now later that Keon Coleman was, air quotes, suspended, coach's discipline decision early in the game. I mean, these are things that are they seem to be just piling up for this, arguably best team in football. It's almost frightening going forward. But we do know they're going to get some players off of suspension and hopefully off of injury soon. Bye weeks coming soon, and the schedule going into the bye is actually, we think, kind of favorable. But the Atlanta game, I'm going to get a pick from you guys here in a second. Before we do that, we have to give away some Tino's dough with a trivia question for all of you. And as you know, with the Mafia, it has something to do with the Bills and the Falcons. So very simple question, guys. What current Bill played 2 games in his rookie season for the Atlanta Falcons? He went on, now this was back in 2007, he went on to make a couple of Pro Bowls.
Matt Prater.
Matt Prater is absolutely right. And once again, Jared has made sure that the table has been paid.
Jared feeds us well.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Chef Jared, not Doc Jared over here.
Yeah.
All right. Couple things very quickly. Scores in the past in terms of the history of the Bills and the Falcons, right? They haven't played a lot. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 14 games or something. 34-31, 33-30, 30-28. A lot of close games. Then there were the 31-3 and 41-14 kind of games. What do you guys think? Let's get a score prediction. We'll start, Rico, with you. Bills, Falcons, Monday night.
Going to take the Bills, 31-17.
31-17. Coach Bob.
Yeah, I'm going to say 31-28.
Okay.
Close game.
I'll go 28-17, Bills.
28-17. All right, Bills convincing on the road against a team coming off the bye week with a lot of weaponry, including that running back, Bijan. All right, we'll talk more about that coming up in the next segment and get our picks, myself and Dr. Jared, when we come back. Mafia guys, thanks so much. Really appreciate you. Come back with more on the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show right after this.
It's apple picking time. When was the last time you bit into an apple? With affordable Shatkin mini dental implants, you can. Stabilize your dentures and replace missing teeth in as little as 1 visit. You can be you again, only better. Call the Aesthetic Associate Center today at 716-839-1700 for your free consultation.
It means a lot to be able to work with my dad to continue this legacy that we have going on.
I had many implants. Once I got them, it was like the old me came back.
The changes you can make in such a short period of time in somebody's life have somebody in the chair crying because they finally have a full set of teeth. And I think the only way to do it in that type of time period for that type of price is really the mini implant.
Mini dental implants can change your life too. Call us at 839-1700 for a free consultation.
Welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Final segment. Myself, Dr. Jared, joining you, talking about the Falcons now. They're coming off the bye week, coming in at 2-2. They beat Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy. They beat Washington with Mariota. They lose to Tampa Bay by 3 in their opener. Pretty impressive. Tampa Bay is a good team. Some are arguing that Tampa Bay might be the best team in the league right now, which is odd, but not so surprising. Then they got crushed by the Panthers. Very weird game there because the Panthers, we all know, are pretty terrible. Anyway, they're off the bye week, so they're healthy. Let's talk about Michael Penix to start. 62% complete, 82.7 rating, but not much production. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks in 4 games. That's not a whole lot to worry about, even though he has some good weapons on the outside.
Yeah, no, I do think that Sean McDermott is usually a pretty good coach against. I would kind of consider Penix a rookie quarterback. He's probably started 5 games ish. So I don't think he's a bad quarterback by any means. I think he has a good strong arm and he can get the ball there, but it's confusing him that I think Sean McDermott could probably figure out in this game.
And you have to think that Sean McDermott is going to want to make this team one-dimensional, right? And it's like some teams were with Derrick Henry back in the day and the Titans. Stop him and then worry about the quarterback. Stop the quarterback or stop Bijan Robinson and worry about the quarterback on Monday night against Atlanta.
Yeah, they got a couple studs, and Bijan Robinson is right at the top of the list. That guy is electrifying. He's going to make some of his plays, but as long as you keep him from making the big play. Don't make the big mistake on Bijan Robinson because he'll go 95 on you.
Yeah, and it is a big task because the guy's averaging almost 150 yards per game combined. He's their leading receiver, believe it or not, out of the backfield. And obviously he rushes the ball terrifically. He's an all-world athlete, so he's a guy to watch out. Drake London is Michael Penix's favorite target. 9 targets per game. You got to watch out for him. Darnell Mooney comes back, and Pitts, the tight end, is having a nice year too.
Yeah, they really have a lot of good weapons, and that's a little bit scary when you look at the Bills secondary right now. But you do really have to make them one-dimensional, and they got to beat you through the air because Michael Penix is not the proven player on that team. Bijan Robinson is.
I think the Bills will feel a lot more like the Bills in this game only because offensively the Falcons aren't great against the run. They give up almost 4.5 yards per game, a little bit more than 4.5 yards per game. Get James Cook back involved. He's back, played at Georgia, obviously, so he's back in the ATL. I think that's a good opportunity for them to win this game. And the third down D for the Falcons is pretty good too. So big plays on first and second down, stay out of third and longs. I think the Bills have a good chance. Prediction from you on this game?
Yeah, I like the Bills in this game. I think it's going to be a little bit of a closer game. I like 28-24.
All right, I like the Bills as well. I'm going to go 31-23 in this game. And they get back on the winning track, hopefully, right? On the road on Monday night. Another night game, everybody. So late night and early morning for you the next day. I'm kind of sick of them. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
But Monday Night Football with the Bills and the Falcons. Got to thank Aesthetic Associates, Dr. Todd Shatkin, Dr. Jared Shatkin, Sorrentinos, Russells, and Napoli's for being our partners, Jim Kelly for joining us on the show today, and, of course, you for watching. Go Bills. This has been the Shatkin First Down Buffalo Pregame Show.
In the Pocket is sponsored by Mini Dumpster Rental. Call 716-429-6362. This has been a production of the Shatkin Sports Network.